Next up, at UFC 280, we have Makhmud Muradov taking on Caio Borralho. We've talked about Caio Borralho a few times on this fight card. He has beaten everybody at 185 that he's even looked at in the UFC, and we'll see what happens in this fight. But Makhmud Muradov is 25-7 overall, 4-1 in his last 5. He's coming off that loss to Gerald Meerschaert. Caio Borralho, 12-1 overall, 5-0 in his last 5. He's got 4 wins in the UFC. I like Caio Borralho here. I love Caio Borralho here. He's just proving he can do whatever he wants to do to basically anybody. He's beaten strikers. He's beaten other grapplers. Not only is he taking people down, but he's dominating. He's dominating. Like, he's a Brazilian who wrestles like a Russian and then grapples like a Brazilian. Like, it's incredible what he's doing.
Yeah, I mean,
it's incredible.
In the middleweight division, he is as good of wrestler and grappler as Darren Till is at striking. I mean, and when you look at the 185 division, you see the top striker in Darren Till in that division, and I think those guys eventually are going to fight for the title probably at the end of next year, because I do think that Caio is that good. He can be. I mean, the way that he's beating people and convincingly beat people.
Oh, dominating.
I mean, he could be a title shot by the end of next year, literally in that division that's already pretty stacked with people and a lot of contenders in that division. I think that he is that good, and it's going to come down to every single fight is going to be, is this the guy that can beat Caio? Can this guy beat Caio? And Muradov on the feet can beat Caio, right? If he is able to somehow keep this fight standing, he is wild enough and powerful enough that he is definitely going to have a live puncher's chance on the feet versus Caio. But the second this hits the mats, I mean, that's like trying to stand and bang with Darren Till. You're going to get, if you stand in front of Darren Till, you're going to get knocked out. If you go to the ground with Caio, it's bad news. You're going to get controlled for 15 minutes or get submitted. So I'm Caio all the way. And if he loses, I think he's going to be the big parlay buster. If he somehow loses, that's going to be. I think a lot of people will love the value at Caio.
I agree, because I think Caio is definitely the best 2-1 favorite on the card. The best. Right. Like there's nobody, but we have talked about other 2-1 fighters being like, it's a little.
Gamrot's
who's a better 2-1 fighter?
Gamrot's right up there too. The odds are about the same. Gamrot's right up there too. I'm biased. No,
Gamrot is probably the best 2-1 fighter on the card, but Gamrot has a much tougher opponent than Caio does. So at 2-1, Caio's got the best path. Makhmud Muradov, solid boxer, good kicks, all that stuff. He had, 80% takedown defense, but Gerald Meerschaert took him down 3 times, and I get it. Gerald Meerschaert's not as bad as we like to make him out to be, but his takedowns are not good. You got taken down 3 times by Gerald Meerschaert, and you knew was the only thing he wanted to do, so you were prepared for that. You still couldn't stop it. Caio Borralho's going to take you down.
Yeah, the issue of that was Muradov was basically like punching himself out. He kept knocking Meerschaert down like over and over. He basically like punched himself out and then was so tired. But I agree. I mean, that came easy too. Once Muradov got tired, that was easy and a quick submission for Gerald Meerschaert. And the same thing could happen in this fight. Success, maybe early on the feet, withstand it, and the second he gets tired, I mean, look for a quick finish for Caio.
Yeah, and Kim, you can just boot that Alex Jeffrey dude. You're a mod now, and you don't have to let people talk to you like that.
Yeah, I get him out of
there. I mean, you can just put him in timeout. Maybe he just thought he was being funny. You give him a second chance, or you can kick him. I don't care, but that's not cool. That's not cool. Yeah, so we're both on the Caio side. I think we both think he dominates. If I don't have a money line on him, I honestly should. And these odds have not moved as much as I thought they would, frankly. I
have him in my parlay. I had that 3-fight parlay that I absolutely love with Magomed. I got Magomed, Mokaev, and Caio for plus 100, which basically tells you I got Caio for plus 100 because Magomed was, in my mind, was going to win that fight. Mokaev obviously is a big favorite. I got him at minus 725, not minus 1200. But I got those 3 for plus 100. So the odds are going to change a little bit. It's probably going to be minus money at this point, but it still brings that Caio value down. If you stack Caio in a parlay, like a big heavy favorite parlay, you can get really good value, and pretty much it just ends up being his fight. So
it's funny. The odds went the other way. I got Caio Borralho 2 units at minus 200. Now he's minus 191.
That's surprising.
Let me just check the actual Bet Online website.
Yeah, he opened at minus 200. It ballooned all the way to minus 250 at one point, 270 at one point after the odds opened, and it's been coming down from 250 down
Yeah,
to
he's minus 191.
So they're definitely moving in the right direction. So if you want to play Caio, it might be worth it to wait a couple days.
It'll probably
odds are
hover
still
around
moving.
here. I would assume if it opened here and ended up back here, it'll. That's what'll happen. And weigh-ins are always interesting. But anyway, we're both pretty high on Caio. I think $9,000 is great value. Jeremy Mearshart's taking him down and submitting him. Caio Borralho's taking him down.
If you have a tattoo that says "fight or die,"
what does his neck say? The Spirit.
Free spirit.
Free spirit.
It's the most aggressive hippie tattoo in the entire world. Free spirit. Free spirit. With that text too, it's not even like elegant text, like free spirit.
It's like written
free
in
spirit.
Yeah, it's like written
Like
in
he did it
blood
with a
text.
knife one night. Free spirit. I love you, Caio. I love you, Caio.
Anyway, I'm gonna spend that $9,000 for DraftKings. 75 to 55. I think it's a less. I think it's absolutely a less. I think it's 90% grappling, and he's either hanging on for dear life the whole time because he's getting cracked, or he gets a submission. So I think this is a less with Monkey Knife Fight. What do you think?
I'll agree with you.
All right. Well, wewantpicks.com/MKF. Sign up, make your deposit. They'll instantly match that deposit. So if you give them $100, they'll give you $100. You give them 20, they'll give you 20. This seems like a solid less strike line. Throw $10 at it and you can win 25. Pretty straightforward, pretty easy. Wewantpicks.com/MKF.